Well, quick break indeed. As promised, we are straight back into things here. Moving up a border, I suppose, into North America here, as we will be for the rest of the evening. It is looking to, again, go down with those sort of concurrent games. A lot of matches going on. Yeah. This one's going to be the coverage for a little bit longer, as it were. We've got this rolling through into the weekend pretty solidly. So looking forward to getting into this, seeing how things are going to go down. We are obviously going to kick off with a little bit of a banger here. The United States coming through up against Colombia. The United States, of course, got Perseverance Gaming, or at the very least, it looks like the majority of them,
yes.
Which, again, functions through as a pretty legit org, pretty legit team. So these guys, I feel, probably the favorites in the whole thing, would you say? Or would you put Canada up there as the favorites, right, is the big question.
I would probably personally say Perseverance, i.e. North America, the favorites in the entire thing. But I would probably say Canada are a close second. You know, both of these sides have notable players, I think is the main thing. But I always lean on one pretty inherent thing for me, which is always the strength, is teams, right? You know, when you see teams that are a mix, and we saw this a lot towards the EU, for example, where they're a mix and they have great name individuals, you know, top of tier 2, maybe some of these guys who have played tier 1 Counter-Strike level. I mean, we had Frozen playing for Slovakia, for example, right? So guys who, big name players, but I still always back teams, you know, a strat book, an idea about playing around each other. I mean, we even just saw it into our previous series, right? A lot of these sides relied quite heavily off the T sides because it allows individuals to shine. But whoever's able to clean up that CT and play off each other and have that composure and all the rest really is, for me, always the one that I lean towards. So that's why I do think that USA are probably the stronger side for me. You know, kind of they're also a team, but I think there's a little bit more name value towards USA in the sense. But here's the team we have. We've got Gabe, MDS, Louis, Shutout, and my GOAT, Kojimo, of course. He was there last year in Yash. Super cool guy, in all fairness. Really, really fun to kind of hang out with. And I honestly, kind of in a maybe non-biased way, but hope we get to see him in Riyadh as well, because he was a pretty cool dude. Obviously, he's been grinding out the Counter-Strike, grinding out the content as well, but this is a pretty good side for Perseverance, who, you know, we're playing ECL, a new org as well. Of course, they were at least the core of the side on Take Flight not too long ago, moved from Take Flight then on towards Perseverance, who are a new org who've come through, also hosting like 100k LAN in America as well, which is a big thing. So, you know, domestic LANs in NA, so a new org who's come in, and picked up a pretty good side, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely. What I will say, to be fair to them, I think some of their results domestically have been going a little bit rough post-player break. So that is maybe something to consider. Not sure how much work's been done in the player break, but it seemed like Colombia, as you can see here, should be a little easier for them to deal with. You know, these guys are not necessarily in a team, not necessarily classed as pro, a little bit older as well. So, you know, it's difficult to say what they're going to be capable of. Ultimately, I think a couple of the players have got pages on Liquipedia, but when it comes to sort of playing recently, it doesn't look like there's an awful lot in there. Really, maybe Spamsy is your most known player, playing on Infinity, which was sort of a team that, again, kind of moved up a little bit. But in terms of the results, in terms of what they were playing, not an awful lot in there in places, right? A little bit of sort of that Latin American league type stuff going on. But in terms of facing off against the North American counterparts, which is what usually happens, you know, you have these like South American, Brazilian teams in particular moving up a little bit. Not really the case for these guys.
Yes, exactly. This is our veto. Heading in towards this one, we're going to have Anubis picked in by USA. Then we're going towards Dust 2, and we're deciding things on Mirage. So, I mean, this is a very puggy map pool, all in all, right? You know, Anubis has become one of those maps that, you know, the most T-sided map in the pool. Currently, Dust 2 has always been very favored on that T-side because there's a lot of freedom to run around, and the rest, and then Mirage, another map in which, if you have strong T-sides, it can make the difference, as we saw in our previous series. So, yeah, I'm interested in this one as well. Just, I mean, for Colombia, I mean, how do they approach it? I think for the map pool they've gone to, ban out Nuke, and then you ban out Inferno. Two quite different maps. Inferno is a little bit easier to play, but I think into CS2, a lot of people don't like it. So maybe it feels like leaning on a slightly more of the more simplistic map pool, maybe hoping for a bit more of a puggier game to try and find gaps in this USA armor.
Yeah, for sure. I think that may well be the case. Again, as we talked about, a leveling map. I think Dust 2 is famously known as that in the past. So maybe that's what they're trying to go for here. Maps that they're super comfortable on in that individual sense. They've played a lot in the pugs. I feel like that's kind of what we got here. You know what I mean? It's like a 5-man roster that play to a very high level of sort of casual competition. And then when it breaks through into you know, the super serious kind of pro, semi-pro level, they've not quite hit that as highly. I still think, you know, there is a bit of history behind this Colombia team within their own area, within that South American region. So there is a little bit of competition there for them. But do you know what I mean? Where it's like you can really make the high level, spend a lot of time. It's maybe the only game that you play, but is it your full 24/7 focus? Potentially not for this squad. And that's obviously what Team USA are going to have over them in this case.
Yes, exactly that. I mean, you know, we've sort of said it right. When we look at this now, it's a series in which our approach is that the favorite here should be USA coming in. But then, of course, we look into that last game. We caught the tail end of that map, and we thought that maybe it was going to be smooth sailing for a 2-0. It flipped on its head. It was very uncomfortable, went to a third map. And we've been casting a bunch of games which have been upsets all over the shop, right? I think is the main thing. So, yeah, I mean, the way I look at it, it still feels like it could be absolutely anybody's game coming towards this. You can't completely say that this is a done and dusted affair. And I think that I hope as well that the approach for the USA isn't that as well. I hope they don't come in towards this and say, right, you know, we're the favorites on paper, but maybe a little bit more name value, play a little bit more of the higher Counter-Strike, and take the foot off the gas a bit and sort of come in with a bit too much confidence or a little bit too brazen in certain senses and all the rest. I hope that they give the proper respect, play the game the way they should be. And if they do so, I mean, this is always the thing as well, when teams are the bigger names in quotation marks, if you still just play your proper Counter-Strike, you actually do just win games easier, right? I think sometimes you see teams who come in with such confidence because they're like, well, we're the guys who are, you know, the favorites on paper. Let's play like the favorites, and people are pushing and overextending, and then they get caught off guard, right? Because they underestimate your opponent. So that's the big thing that you hope the USA don't do here. But I feel like they're professional enough in this sense, so it won't be the case.
Yeah, I mean, that's it, right? That's it. You know, you always see it in like the interviews afterwards where it's like, oh, you expecting these guys to be a challenge? You know, you come in as a favorite, and we get a lot of the top level players say that, look, you got to give everyone respect, right? We've all seen it at the majors, those teams that make runs, and indeed at, you know, the bigger events, and when there's a lot on the line. And again, this feels like a tournament and a qualifier where every game does matter. There's a lot to play here, but ultimately it is a little bit cutthroat, right? You have to kind of play through. You've got to start well, and those playoffs that are taking place starting on Saturday, right, are pretty quickly going to roll around. So you have to bring your A game to every single game, and it's not like we're going to have a bit of a breather. It's not like, oh man, that one was a little close, but it's all good because we've got plenty of games to go. If you look vulnerable, there are teams in here, Canada being one of them. I think Guatemala comes through as well with maybe having a little bit of talent to work with that could certainly exploit you for sure if you do have those problems, if you do have vulnerabilities. Yeah. We are, again, just sort of waiting to get the game going here. You know, credit to the players. Obviously, they've probably been waiting around a little bit, and then it gets to that, like, mark where you're like, okay, I'm going to, I don't know, go make some food or whatever you were planning on doing after. So I'm sure it's been a bit of a case of calling around and saying, yo, game's starting, we need you back.
Yes.
Maybe not the clearest cut start time for them, unfortunately.
Yeah, I do also wonder just as well, like, what the ping's going to be like, because, you know, just geographically, we're not close, right? You know, that much. I do wonder actually what the ping's going to look like in this one. There's a fair few miles in between these two sides, in probably where they're set up and all the rest. I mean, even depending on what coast Perseverance are playing from, I don't actually really know where they're based and all the rest, but we can speculate on that later. We are live. Let's get this show on the road. USA going to be starting on that CT side. Colombia starting on the T side.
Ramsey. Be that first line over towards A here. Funny thing, looks to be a fully fledged coming around. So blind, he's melting. trying to do something here. Not going to happen for him. It looks good for Colombia. MDS needs dealing with, and he will indeed go down. Gabe against 3 here. Goes a little overlooked, but fluffs the line, and Colombia will net the pistol.
Wow. Okay, that's good. A pretty simple one, all in all. We're just talking a nice and easy kind of contact play out towards that A site, and yeah, no issues really. Comes out to fruition nice and simply. So, all in all, 1-0 start. We aren't going to see a force buy come through. Just a pretty simple low buy-in towards this one. So they're going to not give up, but at least sort of say we're going to go for a full buy-in towards the next rather than heading properly in towards kind of a force buy here of MP9 to try and make something really awkward work. However, they're trying to get aggro, and this could work against them. There's a Galil ready to meet them.
Oh, we'll see. They're hanging on the edge. Once again, who's going to make the first move? Trying to draw attention in. Flash comes around. Snake insanely blind. Nice frag. Keen find. Now get that Galil working, maybe. They know what's up. They know it's going to be a B hit, so they're trying to get ahead of it. And it might be the bomb here. They're not going to beat the weapons here, of course. So we'll see if they can get anything going. Molly goes down. Coat not going to respect the fact that there is a player in, ahead of that Molotov. So actually pretty good numbers-wise here. Team USA showing us what they are indeed made of. Point finding a couple, but it costs him a lot of HP. Oh, man, this could get dangerous. Gabe comes around with the Galil. Jumps the gun a bit early, but he will still finish off Spamsy. It's all down to Point. And this is looking to be a full eco. Bomb not planted either. In a good position for Point. They'll tap down onto it. Try and get the 10-second hold. Clean find once they got AKs in hand. And USA, the full eco, goes their way.
Alrighty. All right. A complete low buy. I mean, barely even going for upgraded pistols in most cases. I mean, they were talking about prioritizing kind of with their economy by going in towards the next round, and look what it's netted them here. At first, in that sense, is going to do a lot of damage over towards Colombia, and they do get a bomb plant. And ironically, the way I would actually go about this if I was Colombia is off the back of the bomb plant, not buy, because normally you don't get a choice. You have to force buy because you're in double eco. Colombia aren't in double eco because they had 2K. That's actually not double eco territory for them. So they could have come in towards the next round with full Galils across the board at the very least. They are opting to match the force with force though. Normally, 9 times out of 10, the force is the right choice. But because they got a couple of kills and a bomb, I think that's enough money to say, right, we can actually slow things down a tad. But for them, I'm going to try and make it work here. We've got 2 Mac 10s, a Galil, 2 Tech 9s, which is still a pretty scary buy, in all fairness.
Very true. Definitely could make this work for them. Have to keep it fresh, and I think indeed try and find a presence in this round. Bomb is hedging towards that A side of things, but they're just completely frozen, waiting for maybe some aggression to come their way. I like the idea. I do like this sort of stack here, but I don't think USA are going to give them a look, unfortunately. So they will make the move, and they make it at the perfect time. MDS caught in transition. Good sense of timing here from Colombia, nets them the first.
Mac 10 for them. The 2 Mac 10s, one with the bomb on the back, is just pump the brakes for a second. 30 seconds, though. Colombia don't have a hell of a lot of time. It does look like they want to finish towards A, and it could work against them. Shut up, though, going to get caught. That's tough. Bomb should go down now. Oh, and Kojima is going to get caught as well. I think we're saving here if we're USA. So USA pull off a force buy, and Colombia come right back into it with one of their own. That is very successful. Yikes. That is a tough one to lose. USA, it's going to be a tough one. They're going to force buy back into it, but it's going to be tough in what they can bring to the table. Tech 9, peek around the corner. Spot a 2 there, and ops against the fight.
On the way out, USA hoping to hold the weaponry here. They have now been spotted. Pretty difficult map to save on. We do get to mention from time to time. And Gabe, yeah, they're just absolutely surrounding him. So, cleanly done, Colombia. Okay. Showing us a little bit of what they are made of as well.
Yeah.
Beautiful find. comes at a very good time, of course. You know, if you're going to bounce around like this, it's tough for the CT side to really get anything going, you would say. But then we've got an AWP out suddenly. So the econ is all over the place. Some of the players super comfortable, some of them not so much. The question of what they can find in the response, but Colombia absolutely have to convert a few here.
Yeah. Absolutely. For USA, though, tough one to lose for them, but at least enough to make somewhat of a reinvestment back into this and still have a bit of pressure on towards Colombia, but not a bad start at all from Colombia.
Quiet roll, though. They have indeed kicked things off in a good position, but not really doing too much in the early stage of this round. MDS forced forwards, but he wins it, even with the flash coming round. Very beautiful find from him. 4-on-4, rolling forwards now, as Colombia have got to try and recover things. Back. Shut out. Definitely going to have been spotted after that, but he still makes it work. Can't get away. The M4 lets him down. Not enough ammunition in there for multiple frags. Still keeping this one competitive on the USA side of things. The only issue now, there's no one there.
Hang on. I mean, are we actually, as well, the other side going to give this a go? Retake with an AWP is tough. If they don't get the first kill, they might not. But Louis Deagle gets one. Oh, but Kojamo rattles off for a nice shot. And Slayer got it all to do. Now, this is difficult. Gabe on the swing. Great find. The M4 and the AWP are good enough on the retake. It was a lovely shot from Louis with the Deagle too. And all in all, a super clean spot that we're put in. Okay, this is a crazy back and forth where there's not a lot of kind of consistency coming through, but at the same time, that leaves it all up in the cards of basically who's going to be taking the early part of the momentum. I mean, at the moment, I feel like USA maybe have the best chance at it here, but then the buy comes straight back in for Colombia. Their bomb plants, their kills are enough to suffice with primarily AKs across the board, which is good. Only two going in towards Galils as they want to pick up a little bit of utility. Like you said, though, we didn't have really any or too much knowledge about Colombia as a whole, but so far looking pretty competitive.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Clearly have done their work coming into it. And again, as we sort of talk about and touch on, I think that they are a squad that have worked on their team play. And it feels like, you know, just one of those little things when you look across the board of information that we have. They're a bit of an older team, so it, to me, speaks to the fact that they're all, you know, homies in here. Maybe some of the younger talent might want to get involved, but it's a little bit like, nah, we're a unit. We've done these types of tournaments before. That's maybe a benefit for them. We'll see if that continues being the case. This round, going so hot. I cannot lie. The nades are doing a lot of damage, but Slayers catches MDS getting a little overzealous. Speaking of, Gabe doing the same, but his belief in himself, of course, belief in Team USA, pulls him through for a frag there. This looks a hell of a lot better. 4v3 it was, with hardly any HP to work with.
Ooh, shot from Kojamo. Slayer gets caught. Last man also going to fall to the hands of Louis. Well. It's a one-round advantage now for USA, and that time no bomb plant to come through for Colombia. So in doing so, money is going to have to take a hit here. I don't think they can afford to really overly invest. At the very most, maybe we could talk about a hero AK. That's something which a lot of teams have been at least flexing with the idea around doing it. I mean, it seems to be something that is pretty popular. One hero AK, few upgraded pistols, and try and make it work, but seems to be a pretty simple one here of just limited money. Bit of a low eco type thing. And they might even try to go kind of quick towards A here. There they are. Shout out, what have you got for us? Actually, their Uto set that USA dropped forces Colombia to dip back and reconsider.
Contact play in towards Dark here. I kind of like it. They are as yet unspotted. Just grouping up, chilling. And again, maybe trying to draw some presence their way. We've seen a few funky stacks, haven't we, so far in this qualifier? This is a slight regional change, but, you know, cool to see them going for it. I thought they'd just keep trying to get away with as much contact as possible. It doesn't quite work for them. They eat a nade, smoke goes down, they go barreling on in, and the setup here feels very prepared for this type of a move. Point will catch the head of Kojamo, and my goodness, the HPs do drop quite low here. Need some of those rotators to finish this one off, it feels like. But all good. Walking into the crosshair certainly helps your case. USA rolling through the motions here. 4 rounds up for them now. Colombia kept it close initially, but we need to see them back on the board if they are to stay alive here on the USA's pick.
Yeah, exactly. For Colombia, that was always a throwaway round. In the sense of the expectation of them walking away with it, it's pretty minimal, if we're being completely honest. But now back into the buy. They have to put that pressure back on towards the shoulders of Colombia. USA feels like they've started to get a good reading and understanding, and he's looking to sort of how to find rounds out of nothing. And making this Colombia side feel a little bit on edge. At least for now. Few mistakes we made in these last couple of gun rounds. Bit of a swing there to drop that smoke in towards mid, which does very nearly cost the life of MDS, but ultimately doesn't make too big a difference. The nade is good. The boost spotted MDS. Good work from him. Gets the first.
Snake picking himself a trade, however, in towards Dark there. And kind of a scary prospect, I would say, for Team USA. They've lost a key part of the map, key bit of control. Little panicked, you can see, and yeah, Shutout is unsure of how to play things. It's going to be a B execute from Colombia. They don't really have a lot to work with, though. Just a couple of flashes. Smoke's gone over the top, actually, so we'll see if they can make it work. They have to go through a smoke themselves, and they have to go now. They didn't have a choice. Gabe just mows them all down. He's like, thanks for this. This is the easiest 3-piece of my life, for sure. Team USA looking very, very good now, as I think Colombia quickly running out of ideas.
Yes. No, exactly. I mean, this is what we're seeing at the moment. This is looking a little difficult, I think, for Colombia to find the success that they need here, where even the small things about it in terms of, you know, getting a bomb plant or getting an opening kill, which can give you bits of momentum and all the rest. Oh, it's tough. Really tough. Colombia needs to be careful too. You can't allow the USA to sort of run riot on the CT side, because this is a map in which is the most T-sided in the pool in terms of the statistics. And for Colombia, if they struggle to put up a decent first half here, they might be in real trouble in this first map.
On the edge of the A main smoke. Looks like they want to try and give this site a go, but again, kind of lacking the utility a little. And I think USA getting a good read, you know, something kind of different here. No presence at Dark, no presence at B. It's been pretty regular. Set up and ready to go. Oh, can't quite get the mow down. They will try and recover the round back. That should be doable. Coat has got the bomb plant, which is, you know, return on the investment, definitely what Colombia were looking for. Flash to try and keep them at bay. Allow him to cross in. Oh my, 2 for 1. That's instantaneously down to the 1 versus 1 now. So Gabe to save the round for Team USA after it looked so good. And Coat, where's he gone? In towards A main, the only spot that he can really be at. Oh, the timing on it though. He plays it to perfection. And a big clutch comes in. Colombia with a stolen round absolutely through and through.
That's huge. That, I mean, never should be walking away with that. Credit to Coat in that one. Just when it thought that Colombia were losing control of this game and really starting to, I guess, fall quite flat into it. The T-sides were not getting off the ground. They were not finding kind of this space to work with. They come out of nowhere in a 1v3. That can be a catalyst to bring back, you know, momentum and confidence in the players and say, okay, we can compete and we can bring rounds to the table. We love it. USA, thankfully for them, more than enough money just to come straight back into the buy, but at least they can't underestimate Colombia.
It's true. It is true. We're seeing the level that Colombia are able to bring here. You would expect a little bit more coordination out from USA, but I think it kind of, you know, pricks our ears up a little bit for the second map in particular to see what Colombia can get going there. Anubis is a hard nut to crack if you indeed can't figure it out. That's kind of the one thing, unfortunately, for Colombia. Yes, we just had a really nice round, but their T-side's still not going well. You know, I think 5 already from USA is a really good result. Spamsy and Point here to try and lead the charge. Ollie comes over, pushing out that default player. MDS even does well to get 1, to be honest. He was so low behind the pillar, and it will make the difference. Points left on 1 HP, right? So still feels like a comfortable retake here. A-main not under full control, but there's presence there. Oh, and the tapping is getting close. How did they not hit? Goodness me, Snake. Dodging the bullets somehow. Bomb has yet to go down as well, by the way. He had to go back and recover that, I think. Either way, Plant will now come in. USA have given them this. And will slowly start to make their move in with this advantage. Snake round the corner. He's the danger man. Orb shot does miss, but no capitalization. That Molotov, it just feels like it's close enough to the fight. It forces Point out into the open nonetheless. There were some fights available for Colombia. Couldn't take the victories in them, though.
Yeah, alrighty. Again, you know, close but no cigar situation, I think, is probably the way to put about it. But it's still 6 rounds on the board for USA. And what is actually, you know, still being a pretty good showing from the USA side in terms of the bulk of the gun rounds. They've looked like the side that makes the real difference when it matters most. And I think for Colombia, I feel like maybe if you don't even get up towards 4 rounds, 5 would be nice on the T side as like kind of a bare minimum. If you don't get towards 4, I think that's when things can be quite worrying. And even at an 8-4 scoreline on a map which is so T-sided and USA picking into it, I feel like they're going to have this confidence to work with themselves on that T-side. We'll see, but I'm still not fully sold, Colombia. I need to see a little bit more out of them before I feel like they have a chance. Or at least make it so that them winning the pistol and the force buy is going to keep them competitive in terms of the scoreline.
MDS trying to get aggressive. Doesn't net the first frag. But again, keeping the upper hand for Team USA, it feels like they have the proclivity to get aggressive, and it really has been working out for them. Gabe engaged down below as well. We'll see this mid-burst come in. It looked good on the flashes, but just can't make it work. Double kill for Coat, however, will make life a bit awkward. I thought, you know, USA were going to be able to sort of bolster things up. Looks a little shaky from Colombia, to say the least. Not quite the case in the end. Louis comes round here, finds a trade onto 1, but they've got another retake onto 8. This time they don't have the upper hand.
Okay. Alrighty. It's very slow. It's a flank coming through. Behind the smoke as well. I mean, Louis wants to make a move himself, but it's going to be really difficult. This flank doesn't get the first kill, in trouble. Yeah, and that's probably the retake done in this one. I think it's safe to say, even to Louis, understandable not to even give it a go, right? Let's just pull away, get out of there, keep his AK alive, because there's no chance of half HP. He's making that retake work for them. Good round from Colombia, though. That's one where, I was saying I need to see a little bit more of Colombia to get convinced. That's the sort of round that can convince you. That's the round that can give you confidence to move forward with, and all of the rest. So, brilliant work. Brilliant work indeed. Up to that bare minimum of 4 that I'd asked for. 8-4 halves are workable. They're not comfortable, but they're workable at the very least. Get up to a 5th, 6th, then we're talking. But even to a degree where we're at now, that's better from Colombia. It's a round which is decent. However, they are finding all of, well, basically their only sort of successes over towards A. I do want to see a little bit more diversity out of Colombia. Let's see what this B hit's looking like as well. Let's see if we can get a bit of success over towards that side, because that seems to be still a weakness where for USA, they might inherently think about stacking up over towards A, because that's the main place where Colombia are going.
Yeah, we'll see, actually. We'll see. I think USA probably felt like they were in a really one-sided position to begin with, but Colombia have managed to bring things back. I still think it's going to be tough for them moving into that second half. But I think if they can keep things close here, and again, we're looking down the barrel of that second map, that does too. You know, if they can convince themselves, it's like, okay, we can win some clean rounds, we can clutch things out, we can get our big names working. Those are all really great signs for a Dust 2 result, right? So, really cool stuff, and immediately you can feel that there is this level of intensity. We've got the timeouts taken, we've got the sort of, again, ideas flowing from this Colombia side. They certainly do have the capability here, it feels like.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Timeout concluded, though. And, well, now, penultimate round of the half, and at least something to work with on both sides for Colombia. Bit of confidence as these T sides are starting to come alive a little bit. It's at least a bye squeezed out for USA too, but it's still a bit of an uncomfortable one. Both shut out on Kojo, put on towards Famas's, which is pretty difficult.
Yeah, not the nicest here, but might be able to make it work. Loads of flashes ringing in. However, Gabe just takes a dry swing. Catches Spamsy, and it's as easy as that for him. Smoke goes down. Oh, and it's nice and deep here as well for Team USA. So a lot of recovery going to be required from Colombia to get back in.
Oh, Coach's going to find one. Having a pretty good game in all fairness towards them, Coach. We'll deliver on towards MDS, and things go level. But look how much damage has been dealt towards Colombia. So vulnerable. It makes those Famas even more of an issue. And of course, Gabe, who rips off Coates' heads. I mean, that's the big hitter dropped up close. Snake will fall, leaving just 2 alive now. Make that one. It's the only guy with HP 1v4. Surely this one's not getting off the ground. He will be gifted the first kill, though. And he's still sticking around to see if he can get any more.
Yeah, got to be careful giving him that first, of course. Plenty of time to work with. But shutout, comes in from behind and will indeed manage to close him down. No clutch this time around. So 7 feels pretty damn good out from your CT side, to say the least. And Colombia, without the bomb plant, it's not going to be the cleanest buy. A couple players are okay, a couple players not so much.
At least for USA. Guaranteed that bare minimum of a lead. And we'll give them a bit of breathing room if the pistol is to go south, because that first pistol looked okay from Colombia. Pretty aggro, happy to take fights. All of the rest. Slayers. Just a Tech 9 for him. Spamsy on just a Mach 10. A little tough to work with, that's for sure. Not an impossible buy, but for Colombia, they've really taken hits in terms of their econ off the back of no plants and how expensive they've been. And all the rest. Bombing in towards mid, they're flying through. They disregard that smoke as they look forward to fight. Kojo's posted with the AWP.
Decent position here for him. But it's a question how they play things out. Colombia's mid play has not looked too bad, actually. As we know, they love this A-bomb site. Kojo drops back. There's the flash. It's pretty damn good. Got to have some trades here. 2-man at pillar. Might not be expected, but the AWP trained in patiently awaits his opportunity there. He will strike true. Gabe and Louis definitely got to go for this. That's a clean frag from Louis to kick things off. Molotov is not quite good enough. Damage onto the AWP. They can drop him. It would be a big one here. However, not going to happen. Gabe falls, and Colombia bring it to 5. Sporadic rounds could never really get it going. It's that streak in the middle from USA that's going to make the big difference here. But we shall see. We have already seen this qualifier. Feels like anything can happen in these games. And our conventional talk of how sides work, how maps work, doesn't necessarily apply. Colombia not going to give up easily here.
Yeah, and it does have to be said as well that, you know, Colombia are actually playing some pretty good Counter-Strike. I think there's definitely a case to be said of maybe coming in towards this one and saying, you know, USA feel like the favorites and they feel like the side who should be taking a win, but we weren't really too sure. For all we knew, it could have been actually just been a completely one-sided affair, and it hasn't been, right? I mean, we've seen a really decent conversation out where for Colombia, they still look competitive. They're playing good Counter-Strike, and they are at times making USA feel pretty uncomfortable. And in itself, this game is far from over. USA, a slow pistol out from them. I want to go back towards B. Will be the right call as well. There's only actually one here.
Utility over the top. Immediately, point ready for that, however. Gives him a second to adjust his crosshair. Takes 2 before going down. Coming in here will reset the game ever so slightly. And now they're a bit unsure, aren't they? Trying to move in together. Fire B main looks a bit dangerous. The Dark player goes down quickly. Well found by USA here, putting some pressure on the CT side then. Snake the next one to go. The Julies up close, going to try and find it. Not quite enough for them. Down to the 1v1. Not a lot of time. Planted a bit open for Kojimo as well. He spots that he's not on the bomb, and there's no need to take the fight. Draw him away and win it out on time. We'll see how the kill goes now as well. A little bit of a tilt spray, I suppose, in the end. All the same, Kojimo going to find the kill. And that pistol secured for USA.
I wouldn't even say tilt spray. I would say, you know, confidence, flair in a way, right? You know, he knows he's won the round. He knows that no matter even if he was to fall, it's guaranteed, right? And I think that's all that USA care about. And he does get the kill off the back of it too, just to lock it into place. 8-5, 3-round buffer. No forced buy from Colombia, which I think is the good call. There's still plenty of time to work with in this game. You don't need to rush anything. But a 3-round buffer now. Probably made 4 in a moment too. We are seeing all 5 about to push main, however. Libby's holding for it. They come. Mac 10. Bit of damage. He doesn't want to stick around to overfight, though. No point when there's that many bodies.
Yeah, no, very, very true. There's shut out with a clean find. Might just roll them through here. Louis does go down on the Mac 10, but he's spotted the remaining 3. The bomb's gone down, right? And what is it? You lose a Mac 10. Who is really all that bothered about that? Just be careful not to give it some money, I guess. Speaking of, Coach Mo looking to make his own. Pleasantly surprised. Nice to see you. Catch you in the next round. So just Slayer here, hoping to make his $600. Not going to happen. USA down the barrel of the double digits. This looks good for them. Rifle round coming up. They can get this, then we start to question. We start to say, okay, this is going to be their map, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I do really feel like this first gun round is going to be the telltale sign here of how this CT side looks in terms of, do they have the setups? Can they play off each other? We saw in that previous series, it was a little loose, a little tough, I think, is the main thing to kind of build them up, because the teams were a little bit more mixy. We know USA are in a mix, right? And where Colombia, we're not 100% sure in this sense. So it might be a little bit of kind of a tougher thing to set up. It's all well and good having a good T side, but the C side really tests your mettle as a team. And I think this is now for Colombia where we have to see, what do they have in the locker for us? I mean, we've got a 4-round buffer for USA. We've got a pause that's called kind of before kind of heading into it. And we look at this too on the other side and say, for the USA team, you win this, you obviously get the 10th, you probably get the 11th as well. You're talking 1 more gun round off the back of this. So if things continue at this rate, it's ultimately 2 gun rounds and maybe a force when USA hit 12 if things continue on the trajectory. So Colombia, you've not got many chances, and you absolutely probably need to break them now.
Spamsy. Oh, he had an opportunity. Okay, he will capitalize. Goodness me. The missed AWP shots from Kojimo. That's a very panicked one from both parties. Aggressive moves here. Colombia and USA unafraid to take the fight. Colombia winning them out ultimately. Dave's on the AWP trying to trade things back. Is that not on him? Is that just me? Don't know, dog. He must have taken a little bit of a step. Either way,
yeah.
Felt like it was on. Gabe will melt Spamsy down. That's one way of getting one back, but it looks like the numbers are going to remain good for the CTs here.
Oh, nice find from Libby. Does get traded. Even Gabe all alone. A tough 1v3. No doubt about it. Oh, he's made a lot of noise as well. He's picking up the AWP. He's actually throwing away the AWP. That's good. But doesn't make a difference in the end. He will die. Maybe his AK gets picked up. It should get picked up, actually. Right outside, fellas. Oh, they didn't actually get it. So no AK as an upgrade. But all that matters is the round being taken. We said for Colombia, right? If you lose that, you've probably got 1 more true gun round left in you before it feels like this map is seed on over in towards that next round and all the rest. Yeah. So the fact that we've taken that has absolutely changed the narrative a little bit now, where for USA, they've got to realize, okay, this isn't the Colombia side that we can break apart on this CT side with ease. We've actually got to really sort of work for this and utilize these small incremental wins to build upon a round. Spam through the smoke. Boost going to come over. A strong boost, but at the same time, one that everybody is aware of these days. You see more or less every single player check for it. At the same time, the boost spot's nothing. So Shut Up going to move forward.
Ready round this corner. Oh, goodness. This could be a bit awkward, though. Shutout has, you know, crept under, eluded him. They're going to move in for the A play. Ultimately, it's a pretty big crunch. Managed to rotate around and get the setup. Oh, bolstered. The spam coming through. Snake left incredibly low. Flash comes in. He somehow has escaped them. What can he do from here? 2 comes in. Trying to swap the weaponry here, but ultimately just buying time and keeping the numbers good for Colombia. He will go down. A valiant effort. They've got to make sure that his death is not in vain here. So far, so good. Kojamo brings it back to being even. However, there's that kit available. Flank coming in. Nade goes a little deep, but it will help Cope find the frag, and it's all on to Kojamo behind the site here. Spots out the first, takes his head cleanly, knows the other man is in at A main. Oh my goodness, a bit of a panicked move from him. He's got the Glock out, but he makes it work. And somehow Kojamo clutches up with the default T-pistol. Absolutely mental.
Yeah, that is absolutely bonkers. I mean, Kojo should never be walking away with that round. You know, pulls out the Glock and a gun in which, in most instances against armor, shouldn't be doing absolutely anything. Wild one. Wild one, to say the least. 4-round the buffer, though. USA cracked into those double digits. Money feeble once again towards Colombia. And if we're being honest, this round shouldn't get off the ground. Ooh-wee. I mean, they are to make it work, fair play. That'll once again keep them in this game. And they're doing something a little outlandish, but Spamsy gets tapped by his teammate. All right.
Little giddy. Little trigger happy. They use that information pretty effectively, though, on Team USA to know that, okay, they're putting resources into mid. That means we should be vulnerable. There's the coat assist coming in. Snake on the M4 probably wants to look to save, to be honest. It's not like his money is fantastic moving into the next round, so try and work his way out of here. At the tail end of the game like this, I don't think the damage is going to matter too much. You really just need the rounds. You know, those little incremental changes aren't going to apply necessarily. Oh.
No way, right?
Not in 10 seconds.
Yeah, he doesn't have a kit. I mean,
okay.
Yeah, sticking around is wild regardless, because for all he knows, there could be somebody flanking behind him. But, yeah, we will save. I mean, it does keep USA sort of at least drawn a little bit towards the bomb. He's being hunted, and he might actually have to fight on the tail end, but he actually might get gifted it. Ooh. He does it. He does. He takes a tag, but... oh, he stays alive. He stays alive. That is all that matters. USA up to 11. 2 rounds away from taking their map pick as well. And there is the worrying thing too, right? Just about, you know, a map like Dust 2, because it is quite puggy in its nature. If USA just have the individuals online, which so far it seems like they do, that could actually just be enough for them heading in towards that map to make it work and all the rest. So I'm a little concerned for Colombia. I feel like they had these moments on T side which were really good. However, as a whole, they've fallen a little flat on the CT, where they've been struggling to put up anything consistent.
B-main aggression is what I've got my eyes on here. The Colombia boys might just have slipped under. Slayer in that advanced spot. Coat trying to draw them in a little bit. Spamsy goes down, though. Maybe setting up nades for his teammates there. Slayer tries to be the hero. It's a perfect start here for USA. One is not going to cut it. Points here quite fast. He gets ahead of the Molotov as well. Just trying to deny away what he can. It's not going to happen. The round crumbles for Colombia, and USA have sealed it in for my money. Hardly any money to work with here on that Colombia side of things, right? And just the 6 in a row that's going to be required. Thus far, the CT side has not really looked there at all, maybe you might argue. A tough one, a very, very tough one indeed.
Yes, no, exactly. But it's one of those where for Colombia, there's been these moments where there's been competitive and these instances and all the rest, but it has been tough, I think, is the main thing for Colombia since the turn of the half. Just in the small moments, they're just falling a little flat. Kojimo can a quick kickstart things. Just get caught, but the trades are good. And Gabe couldn't even get two, and he will. Beautiful work from Gabe.
Yeah, absolutely, man. They've lit up a little bit more moving on to this T side, it feels like. But indeed, Gabe and Kojimo, pretty fantastic game coming out from them. And it does just go to speak to that extra kind of level that we were expecting USA to bring. It's North American qualifier. So, Snake. And that's it. I was about to mention Slayer's name, but unfortunately, he goes, you know, there's a thought in my head. Snake will also fall 13-6. A keen finish, a keen second half in from the United States. Fantastic result for them, of course. Taking their own map pick. We do move on into map number 2, the pick of Colombia, and hoping quietly that they can show us a bit of that prowess. We saw a few nice rounds out from them there on Anubis, wanting them to repeat that success now and give us a bit of a competition here.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Good work from USA. I mean, you know, there was moments, especially that first half, you know, it got towards sort of 7-5 and we're thinking, Colombia looking pretty competitive, at least. Well, it wasn't consistent or consecutive rounds. They were putting stuff on the board, which was like, okay, there's, you know, an idea here, right? They're having these moments which look pretty good. We're seeing incrementally at the very least where this Colombia side can come alive, but I think unfortunately for them, fell a little bit flat when it mattered most, and that they struggled to really put on the board, I guess, what was the important rounds on the CT side. So, yeah, good work from USA. I think they just made sure that they did enough in the first half when they were maybe on the back foot in a few instances that they always just kept a bit of a lead and just kept about arm's distance away. And then we headed into the second half and it was one-way traffic, and they made sure that once they got momentum, got a hold of it, snowboard and all the rest, didn't let it go. It didn't allow Colombia really any opportunities. When they had gun rounds out, they were giving them the space and really catching them off guard. When they knew they were on a bit of a lower buy or an eco, they understood that there's probably going to be some sort of a gimmick here. Let's see if we can utilize it against them. But as we run through some of the highlights, we can just see, you know, for Colombia, there was nice moments overall, but it's just a lack of consistency for me that is pretty killer.
Yeah, for sure, right? I think it does, again, just come down to the fact that they maybe weren't ready for what USA were going to bring to them on that higher level T side, you know? And I think that, again, is just kind of this line, this narrative that we're taking, that this Team USA squad, as a full-on squad as well, should be able to deliver a little bit more. Look, that is their pick. I think that's maybe the one thing to fully consider here. It is going to be a bit of a challenge to Colombia if they can match up. I'm not too sure. I think, again, we might get more of the same, where it's like a few nice rounds in there, clearly a few that are set and whatnot, but ultimately, I don't think that they have what it takes to kind of compete necessarily against Team USA. I'm happy to be wrong. I am happy to be wrong moving in, but you can see what happens in that second half. Just streaky stuff for USA. Really, really clear cut. Couple of tight rounds, but ultimately, when it came down to a round where it's like, okay, this one is a big one for Colombia. They got to win it, you know? Otherwise, USA are going to start running away with things. It felt like those big swing rounds, that's where USA would pull out something a little more advanced from their strap up.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Alrighty, though. Take a look at the scoreboard at the end of that one. And Gabe, pretty good individual work from him. 21 kills to his name. Kojo just in behind on 19 as well. Not bad, not bad. I mean, the thing is, if you had maybe look at the scoreboard at the halfway point, there was a couple of real competitive players over towards Colombia who were keeping, you know, at the very least, this door open for Colombia. It just fell flat, unfortunately, was the issue in towards that second half. And I think that sort of threw maybe a bit of a spanner in the works. What was overall moments of greatness, just not enough out of Colombia to compete. That was their opponent's map pick, so I guess we can give them a slight benefit of the doubt. We'll ultimately look at this now and say, can they bounce back? It's their map pick up next. It's Dust 2. And, you know, a map in which if things are a little south, you can just play back off individuals as a puggy map in that sense. That's maybe what Colombia are hoping for.
Yeah, for sure, right? I think that's kind of the way that we lent here. It was the Dust 2 and then the Mirage as that third map, right? Which, again, we feel leans into this puggy style of play that, again, especially sort of across the ocean, I think a lot of the teams really do enjoy playing out games that they'll be used to, maps that they'll be used to. So there is a world in there. We saw, again, a couple of nice moves around from some of the Colombia players. Coat looked pretty good for me, to be honest.
Yes,
and I think that maybe here on Dust 2, with the ability to entry in, it will be a realm in which he could show himself off. I'm definitely curious as well. I feel like we'll be getting a new version of Dust 2. I don't see why not. It's not like it's a huge change here, but that might have a pretty big effect here if Colombia especially want to be taking a lot of these fights on that CT side. We'll see how it pans out. We'll also see whether they begin on the CT side. You never know. USA might actually pick to start on the T side at the end of things. Either way, we're going to take a break, just a few minutes here before we get back into the action. Game continuing, Dust 2 coming up. We'll see you there. Hello, everybody. Welcome back in. We are moving on to Dust 2 now, of course, between Team USA and Colombia. Things, I mean, we're looking pretty competitive in that first half for Anubis, but then when it swapped over, man, the USA T side, they knew absolutely what they were doing. Colombia could not deal and just couldn't get anything on the board, really. So I think it comes in as a pretty dangerous prospect now. Dust 2 can be a map that everybody's comfortable and everybody can play, but it could also be a place where someone like Kojimo on that AWP or Gabe, who's just had a great performance, take over the game and, you know, absolutely become unstoppable.
Yeah, and this is a map for me that really does feel like a real AWPer's paradise in a way. So this is one in which my expectations are, you know, Kojimo can really get very, very active on. I think it's a map in which, you know, a solid AWPer is quite aggro and confident in their own sort of style of play. Really can get very sort of proactive in terms of how they like to approach it. So I'm looking at Kojimo to really try to make a difference here. But the Rifling Core, I think, had a lot of great moments over towards map number 1. We didn't just see enough, I think, unfortunately, out from Colombia. And obviously, Coat had his moments on an individual basis, but then alongside him, it did sort of peter out quite rapidly. And I think, you know, as a whole, that CT side had a lot of vulnerabilities where all that we were really seeing, you know, the success that they maybe had in that first half, especially because they were on that T side, was actually a lot of it just coming down to a numbers game, right? They were going into bomb sites, you know, basically 5 versus 3 or 5 versus 2 taking the bomb site, and then just having the numbers advantage in post plants as well, right? Where that's something you can't do on the CT side. You can't be gamble stacking every time. So it was definitely an inherent issue over towards the Colombia side, but they just couldn't seem to find a read on the United States. And I think that was the big thing for me that I found things very costly. And it is in itself slightly damning because you come in towards Dust 2, and Dust 2 is like double the width of Anubis, right? So I mean, the rotations between sites is easily like 5 seconds more than what it is between that on Anubis. So we'll see. Quick mid push coming through here for the USA. Straight to the fight, and Snake for the first.
Ooh, nearly a second for him. Not quite. Point to finish it off. But yeah, the classic pistol coming in. It looks like Colombia is somewhat prepared for it. I don't know that's necessarily where they wanted to get the utility down, but you make it work for them. P250 now, rolling on in. Easy find, as Gabe was like, yo, get me on these new boxes. But unfortunately not considering his left flank. Ooh, Slayer in a pretty good spot. Not hearing him move up, so maybe for a second could be a little slip in from shutout. We'll see. There as yet to cross in. Fight going down as well towards middle. It's a bit all over the place right now. Shutout will fall. So it is just down to Kojimo, the only fragger thus far for Team USA. Struggling there at the top end. That's a clean headshot round the corner. Give him a little bit of respect here. Could certainly make this happen. He wasn't ready for Snake to be up, but they were a bit all over the place on the Colombia side. Nonetheless, make the pistol work. The push-up middle is a classic. I had good feelings for it, but that return flash, really clean.
Yeah. All right. Tough. I think that's a tough round for USA to sort of bite, right? Where they come into it and they try to get aggro. I always find it a little uncomfortable when teams get super aggro on the CT side against Glocks, because Glocks can always just spam a little bit better than the USPSs can. We are going to have, however, a force buy coming through from the USA. And, you know, we spoke about it at length. For those who don't know, I have a a bit of a pet peeve. I don't like teams who lose the CT pistol who then buy into it, because the win rates are generally pretty bad. We've done a couple of games in Asia, and 8 failed, 3 successful. Not the great statistics. We've done quite a few in EU. 33 failed, 10 successful. Again, stats aren't great. This is going to be the first one for NA. So let's see. Is it going to start off this list in a good way or a bad way? But as you can see by the other ones, the stats aren't great is the main thing.
Stop forcing.
Yes. Yeah, fundamentally. Yeah, exactly.
To be honest. Yeah, but it's like that one time that it works. It can be big. And Kojimo, he finds a clean heady to get us kicked off here. So that's a bit problematic. And it means they're in a really good spot. That takes down the mid information, which in the early stage of a Dust 2 round is really important for the T side, actually, to just figure out what's going on. And you can see they're like, yeah, probably compromised down below. We're going to have to take this. Headshot for headshot. Like a little stronger, however. Could make a big difference. Shut out, meanwhile, looking to get some good timing in the corner. Not going to be checked, and he does indeed find the 2-piece. Maybe we're on, maybe not. All of a sudden, it's flipped. 2 versus 1. Louis knows he can isolate this fight, and indeed, he is incredibly low. Can't guess correctly. AK going to be recovered. Coates got to save this one for Colombia.
1 minute to do so as well. And Louis, playing honestly probably the best part he can play, because it's the only way he can isolate a fight. As long as he stays there, he should be fine. He moves at the worst possible time for Louis. Didn't back himself. The seeds of doubt came in towards his mind. And that is costly in the end. Holding the perfect angle. And it definitely would have been overlooked, surely. Moving out from tunnels, you would have been looking, or I guess preemptively thinking basically everywhere else, bar just in the open towards boxes. Louis pulls off the angle, looks back towards doors, and that ends up costing him his life. I think if you're going to play an angle like that, you've got to commit to it. I mean, probably the best place he actually could have played is all the way towards back plat. But, yeah, in the end, a failed force buy, ultimately. So that's a 1 on the failed. 100% fail rate on North American force buys from the 1 we've seen.
Snake ready and waiting here. He's expecting a bit of something with this change up towards short. Flash going to come in, so they will indeed move towards him, and surely he's got to go down here. Indeed. Immediately traded out. Kojimo, meanwhile, yeah, works off the back of what could have been a hasty call, a hasty little, oh yeah, they're all here. And he will manage to find the advantage. So we'll see what happens. Khalil's been recovered out towards long. It's a nice distractionary play. May well go overlooked, right? So little things like this for Team USA are pretty smart. Dink lands onto Coat. They've got to deal with him quickly if they want to get this round going. Not going to happen, unfortunately. Well held here by Colombia. Superior weaponry. Getting it going, but they will lose a fair amount of that said weaponry. It ends up being pretty costly, in fact.
Yeah. I mean, I think more than probably they would have expected. But, I mean, ultimately, a 3-0 start, I think, is probably the main thing that they're looking at here, right? That's a bit of confidence out the gate, bit of breathing room. But now they'll realize, everybody realizes, first true gun round coming through from the USA. They were pretty successful on them, especially that second half in towards map number 1. They really didn't pull any punches. Colombia got to make sure that they get things started well for them against the rifles. It's messy, but Gabe gets caught in the smoke. Kojo will answer through 1 of his own.
Ooh, quick little boost up here. I'm a fan of that. Point makes it work. That's a lovely little angle for sure. Not one that you see super often. Slayer beats out MDS. It's all over the shop. York trying to move up towards short. Oh, this could be big, actually. They have read the pullback. Oh, not the best weapon for it, but he might be able to take 1 as shut out. Keeps them looking in. Kojimo loses his life, unfortunately. What is going on in this round? Colombia just running around the world at the moment. Looks like they should be able to make it work, though. Shut out. Indeed, has been shut out, unfortunately.
It's true. It's very true. You got to save, haven't you? But can you? No, is the answer. Point holding for that exact rotation right at the end. Colombia, these are some really nice rounds on Dust 2. The USA core being made to work for this. I think probably more than they would have expected. I think it's probably the safe way to go about it, because I mean, at the moment, they definitely don't look as comfortable, I think, as they probably would have hoped to have been or felt. I mean, looking at stats now as well, for this side, Dust 2 is a map that they have played, and in all fairness, a few times, but to limited amount of successes, right? You know, they've played it 3 times, 1-1, lost 2. The loss was pretty bad as well. They got battered by Elevate 13-2, and then by Take Flight, their former Hawk, 13-5. Kojo gets caught by the nade, all down to MDS. Nice and simple, this one, seen off with ease.
Bomb going down, that will begin to spell the beginning of the end. MDS hoping that he can maybe get a gun. They're guarding it. They know what's up. They're all on the way now. So surely he gets dealt with. Just a short answer to the question of whether he will take one with him. 5-0 for Colombia. Looking very, very good. Really looking good. Team USA, I would imagine, starting to panic a little bit. They've got to give us something here with the CT side.
Yeah. There's definitely no complaints about, what we see out of Colombia right now. I mean, I really even wouldn't mind, for USA, take a real kind of tack time out, take a pause, have a little breather, a bit of a conversation. These CT rounds, these rounds in general are so quick. Wow. It's one of those where, for me, I'm looking at this and I just think that they look a little stunned, maybe took their foot off the gas a slight bit, and Colombia are coming out all guns blazing in towards Dust 2, and they're so confident, so happy to fight.
Oh, quick up towards short. Kojimo, though, he's in the perfect spot to deal with this. The classic on the AWP. They will just creep under. Presence at long. Comes at the right time. A big, big pickup from Kojimo. Keeping the dream alive. Bomb going to go down. Just got to be a bit careful. Louis comes up, though. This new position. They're not considering it. Snake nearly goes down to him as well. That's actually a cancel of the bomb plant as well, mind you. So Snake very unsure. Goes in for that super safe plant, but it's not really open to anywhere. He's just going to have to play in on the site itself. Looking away. Flash comes in. It's clean, as is the headshot. Not ready for Kojimo, but Kojimo misses the shot. Oh, no. And in that moment, in that low HP, Snake will take it. That's huge. That is so, so big for Colombia.
And this is the thing, if we look at the flip side, when we look towards Anubis, all of these small little wins, all these close moments are all being taken by USA and Anubis. And now it's completely flipped the script in towards us too. Every small incremental moment or every chance that is there, Colombia are taking them. And we're just not seeing USA put the rounds on the board that they should be. I mean, they probably should at least have maybe 2, potentially even 3 rounds because of how close some of these have been, but they just cannot seem to see them in their favor. It's tough, and I think, with how they are at the moment, I don't know. I mean, they're called for a pause, which I think is ultimately a very good thing for them. They desperately need this conversation, but we're already at a showing now. 6 at a bare minimum isn't bad. I mean, Dust 2, at least, since it's been put in towards the pool, in towards the competitive pool, it's actually been relatively even in terms of its stats of being T and CT sided. So, because of that, already, USA, this is just not looking like a good map for them, where they are just ultimately being outplayed.
Yeah, I would indeed argue a difficult situation for Team USA. We did say, though, move into this Dust 2. It is a map where anything feels possible. MDS. Up, down, middle. Bit of support for him as well. Meanwhile, over on B. Shut out with this Deagle. Again goes overlooked. So much damage done, but not quite able to capitalize. Even more. Point lucky to be alive, but with the B-bomb site falling, it can be a difficult life. That nade comes in. It's so close. Molotov. Even more damage coming over. So we'll see here. It's all on this flank from MDS in from the tunnel. The smoke going to go down. It's not the best, because it is not in the tunnel itself. So this is usually what a T-side player would use as a lurk smoke to try and get through, try and get round, and do just that. Comes in for 1 and 2 as well. Beautifully done there. Great coordination out from USA on the half-bite to give them their first round.
Yeah, absolutely. It's better late than never, I think, is probably the main way we'll go about it. But Yeah, it really does need to be a strong end to this half for USA for us to get to a point of being comfortable. I mean, even then, I don't even know if we would be comfortable. I mean, even if it was to go to 6-all, yes, that would actually be a great recovery, but there still would be the inherent thing of Pistols have been a little shaky. Colombia seems to be a little bit better on towards this map as a whole. Is that going to be enough on a CT side of Dust 2? Maybe not. Especially now with the Dust 2 added the boxes to jump in towards short, for example. You do get a bit more of a preferential peek in towards short if you want it. And all the rest. Slayer going to find the first. MDS gets caught through the smoke. Not a good start for USA once again.
Cope working his way around here, trying to find the first one on towards that A bomb site. Will do so. Can USA hold the line here again? A lot of damage done down. Shut out. Drops Cope, but the bomb's still going to be planted here. They're expecting them up close. Kojimo goes down. Maybe moving a little early, you might argue. And it kind of makes life awkward for everybody else. 3v3 immediately falls. That A bomb site super retakeable, but not here. Colombia rolling over, looking fantastic, responding immediately. And this is great, really.
Yeah. I think it's safe to say that probably 3 maps is looking required here at this rate. I mean, really what we've seen is it's just not been enough out of USA. Unless they've got something incredible up their sleeves, I think it goes without saying that I'd be very surprised if we didn't go to a third at this rate, because it's just not been enough. From USA, they're falling quite flat on Dust 2. At least it's credit to Colombia. It's a good map for them in their pool, but also I think quite expertly done in the, I guess, counter-stratting you could call it. At least it seems like they looked in towards the veto of what Perseverance like to go for, and in a map that don't seem to be that strong for them, or at least maps where they've been picking up losses somewhat recently, and Dust 2 was one of them. You know, they could attempt to fate with something like a Mirage, but you know, those slightly more known maps. I think Dust 2 still has a few tricks up your sleeve, right? Where, you know, because of volumetric smokes and no skybox and the rest, and with it still being relatively newly put back into the pool, a lot of teams aren't fully comfortable with it yet. I think Colombia have done quite well in terms of the veto system here for them. This map looks good, and at the moment, that third is absolutely going to be needed. Smoke down towards CT, Molotov towards car, moving up long, and nobody here to meet.
Ooh, Nade I was expecting a bit more from. Doesn't quite deliver. Kojimo, trained in, lands that first headshot. It's a scary A bomb site now. And he drops back, right? He's drawing a lot of attention his way and hoping to keep it off of those pistols that are close. We'll get the bomb going down. Louis hoping it was on his side. I mean, why would it be when they know that the AWP is around? But in comes the cavalry. MDS dealt with quickly. They know where a couple of these players are, but they still cannot pin them in. Slayer's kept at bay for a second here. Misses the shot, right? Bit too much pressure for him. It's going to be down to Cody. He's onto the Glock and the jumping up shot. Kojimo gets it done. USA on the half buys apparently are playing a great game here, but unfortunately unable to turn it into anything substantial as yet. A little bit more room to do that. Colombia still on the verge of a really nice half.
Yeah, I mean, at the very least, that seems to be where they find a bit of comfort in these sort of wackier rounds, so to say. But at the same time, you can't rely off the back of these low buy rounds. I think it's the main thing that we're looking at. Nicely done, all in all, but you know, it's still only a second put on the ball for USA. I feel like we need to see them get at least up to that fifth, right? Make this a tied game. Oh, not a tied game. Make this as close of a game as you possibly can, because you aren't able to tie this one up at the half, as we saw in a similar vein, or 7-5, of course, on map number 1. And then if you get a pistol, then you might be in for a chance. 8-4 is also workable, but I mean, I'm talking about rounds like 4 or 5, as if you say, you know, at the moment deserve that. I think probably the way they've been playing, that they don't. They've got to do a lot more to earn the right to get up to kind of 4 or 5 rounds, because at the moment they have been so janky in terms of some of these plays.
Colombia then, we'll see how deep the strat book goes, I suppose. USA, quite a nice setup here, I will argue. Flash goes round. Louis not really able to find anything off the back of it. Ready for the mid plate. They are indeed smoked off for the time being. These AWPs on the retake are going to be so awkward. An unexpected spot from Gabe. He goes early. There's a lot to find. Kojimo for 2 here. Somehow making it work. He comes around with another through the smoke as well. Oh my god, Kojimo! What the hell is going on? What is this guy on right now? Coat is trapped in and quaking in his boots, I bet. Must have been a big gap above the smoke, I suppose. Not the old CS2 version, right? There is a volumetric drop smoke that you can do. And Colombia must have missed that memo. It has cost them the round here. Kojimo does not get his ace, but Niraz, damn it, might be able to catch some replays from him too.
Yeah, that was pretty ridiculous. I mean, at least the 2 kills at the tail end there are absolutely ridiculous from Kojo. That second one in quick succession that goes to the smoke. Never should be really getting away with those, I think is the main point for us. But hey, USA going to get a third. And in doing so, really hindering the econ over towards Colombia. We are going to see a slight investment towards a scout. Now, in all fairness, a scout and a few pistols in the right hands is a scary combination. The old tag and bag strategy. The scout, if it can't get the headshots, at least getting body shots. There's like 71 points of damage normally with a scout to kind of the upper chest. That can mean the pistols can see them off, especially if it's like a 5.7, for example. Or a Tech 9, or, you know, one of these running guns, or the weapons in that sense. A Deagle body shot, hey, that's doing like 40 plus. No tag back could be good. Kojo going to get the first, however. Molotov going to come over. They're going to force through this. At least one is, in all fairness, but he's got a player over towards ramp. That should keep them at bay.
Nice nade on the touchdown here. So looking good. And indeed, Louis just putting up this wall. Doesn't even have to find the kills, but it's enough to stop them, enough to deter them. MDS, bit of a dodgy jump up, but works for him, I guess. He's going to find one, sets up another. Flash coming in for him here. Ultimately, no sweat for USA in general, bit for MDS, but everybody else is finding their kills nice and clean, just leaving Slayer out at long, hoping to get a catch. Not going to happen. So there you are, USA, with a small recovery here. The 4 rounds. That bare minimum that we like to talk about.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so 4 rounds. It's in loose quotation marks. It's fine. I think, you know, 8 to 4s are workable, but there is the asterisk and the caveat, I think, of an 8 to 4 where you need a pistol round. If you're that team with 4, 7 to 5, there's a little bit more leniency there. You can lose a pistol, maybe get a 4, something of the sort, and it's still fine. If you, I know 7 to 5, for example, and you do get a pistol, you tie the game up. Simple as that. So, that at the very least is recovered a little bit for USA. But yeah, I think for USA themselves, it's all well and good that they've recovered a bit, but they need to keep this level up. Some of these rounds have been a little bit close for comfort, more close than I think they would hope, and I don't want to let things slip away in the final ones and give Colombia a wealth of a lead of an 8-4.
Yeah, for sure. Point. Oh, nice find. And he's the only one that's seen, right? It's the worst possible trade-off. Because he gets a kill, and there's just nothing there for USA. It's not like, oh, okay, well, we've seen 4 more, or we've seen the bomb, or did some damage, even. There's nothing there. So they have to expend resources to retake that area. They do actually get a kill for their trouble. B-bomb site is where we're going to end up. Oh, no, being drawn in here. Shut out on that difficult angle to beat as well. In a closet. Snake, though, he will do it. 2 versus 2. The bomb cross going to be difficult. Kojimo ready to go, and he lands it. What a couple of rounds that guy has had for USA. 17 kills at the turn of the half as well. Putting them in the backpack to give them 2 really, really big rounds and ultimately create this deficit as little as possible. Colombia, though, still with the upper hand. Looking very, very good in that first half, we have to say. And maybe putting themselves in position to find that 3rd map.
That's a ridiculous shot from Kojimo, isn't it? That is something quite special. But yeah, honestly, I mean, what we've seen so far is a really nice recovery out of USA, but they still are 2 rounds in the hole. Pistol round absolutely helped them out in that sort of instance. But at the very least, give them a chance in towards this. But they do start to dwindle again at the start of the half as they did in towards the first. Things could very, very quickly start changing from talking about the USA recovery to more about how will they recover on map 3. I think they're hoping, of course, that they can avoid that possibility. Don't want to leave it up to chance.
No, not at all. Cross comes in nice and easy, though. Bomb plant comes in nice and easy. There's a kit available, so they are banking on this retake, Colombia. Easier said than done, though, man. P250 in the mixture, so keep your eyes on MDS and whether he can make it into that kill feed. The answer's going to be no. Oh, my goodness, the headshots. So crisp here from Colombia, and Spamsy just cannot stop. Oh, my. Okay, flawless on the retake, then. That's pretty nice from Colombia.
It really just doesn't get any better than that. There's no complaints. Not a single person dying. I mean, the only complaint I guess you could have if you're being, real technical, is allowing USA to get a bomb plant. But my God, that was one-sided. Similar thing we saw, right? The pistol in that first half was very, very clean from Colombia. And, I mean, they spiraled in and picked up an incredible run out the gates where USA couldn't even really compete at all. Tough one. I mean, USA are going to force, which is understandable off the back of their bomb plant, but weird situation, I think, as well. For USA, you lose this, we're probably getting alarmingly close to talking about map 3.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Once upon a time, T-side force buy is really effective on this map, so we'll see if USA can roll it back a little and try and go for something simple. The mid to Bs, whatever popular. It looks like they're kind of in position for that, but opting to just see what they can get away with. As much contact as possible. Is there any presence? Is there any aggression from Colombia? The answer is going to be no. It's a very, very conventional 2-1-2 setup. Draw that mid player. Oh, force a little bit of a peek there, but seem to be ready. Controlling their way in. M4 spotted. Coke got to be careful here. Sticks around. Does land a big chunk of damage. Another retake here, but easier said than done at this kind of stage. They've got much better weapons for it this time, do Team USA. I don't know, man. There's no utility left for Colombia at all. Coat takes a tag. The scout looking deadly. We've got this FAMAS creeping in close here to maybe drop the first, but it's actually Louis that gets it done. Just got to stay chill here. Planted for these short players. Tap comes in. Advanced position. Going to try and go in for the hold now. Double spray down from MDS. The third as well will seal it in. And goodness gracious me, he makes that work beautifully.
That's a beautiful setup though, isn't it, right? Over towards short. The first two that line up. The Goose player probably shouldn't be peeking, I think is the main thing.
Sure.
In that instance, or at the very least, if you are going to peek, it should be your teammate takes contact. If he falls flat, you swing off the back of it because the spray at that point is already kind of like 10, 15 bullets deep. And it's going to be a little bit off center. And that's where you can make a move. But because he's lined up directly, that spray transfer at least is pretty simple because there's no need to transfer. You just hold down the control. USA force buy so important, and Kojo going to kickstart this round. I mean, he continues to have impact, Kojo. What a map out from this guy on an individual basis. And because Colombia have gone for a force of their own, winning this could be massive. Scout at range, though. Coach, I know you're confident, but let's maybe not fight that one.
Yeah, that was a scary-ish peak, wasn't it? For sure. Ball comes down. Coke going to go through it. Eats the nade. Didn't help his case, but Gabe pulling a nade out at literally the worst moment. I don't think it could get any worse than that. He didn't even fully have the nade out, Oh, and it's looking scary. Tags are landing here. 4v3. Cross coming round. Bomb plant should be in. And indeed it will be. Nice little smoke just to give them the space to work with. One goes through. He's dealt with quickly. Looking good here. The superior weaponry is helping them out. And kind of the impatience of Colombia as well really helping them out. Snake remains alone. Might as well just save the scout, right? Drop that 5-7 next round and everything. You've got a bit of pressure to work with, but He's overstaying his welcome for sure. Down he will go. USA bring it within 1. That was a little dicey, though.
It was. There was, yeah, definitely a moment where it felt a little awkward. Thankfully, in the end, it's not. I think it's ultimately the main thing. 1-round game, though. Now we're on to something. This is starting to really open up because we're in this close affair. Colombia, you can't really force here, but then at the same time, you're gifting up this lead that you've worked so hard for in that first half. But we saw this, though, didn't we, in towards map number 1, where Colombia had really good moments on their T side and at least, you know, had this competitive nature about them, but the CT side is a different story. It's a tougher thing when you're maybe a little bit more of a mix or you don't have that team dynamic set up as nicely to have a solid CT side. You're playing very much based on the back of the individuals, but on a map which requires long rotates, it's difficult.
Yeah, not easy at all. Kojimo, nobody home. So he will call on that bomb. It was looking for a bit more of an A hit, but with his information gained, they're able to easily take over B. And they have absolutely no idea that he's in deep. Mac 10 mowing through them. Kojimo keeps his solid game going here. The Glock doesn't work for him, unfortunately, but enough has indeed been done. That's not what that was supposed to do. Either way, 8-8 now. USA evening things up.
Yeah, this is now getting pretty interesting. I mean, we've got how things have been running. We definitely have to look on the other side too and say for Colombia, we're not getting around in the next 2. Even that's being maybe a little bit kind, right? Because you got a gun round here. You lose this gun round. USA find 9 and then 10. And at that point, they're getting ever closer to the potential of that 2-0. So it is definitely a worrying spot that we're in for the Colombian roster. They're going to fight out towards long. Flash comes over. Molotov comes a little late, so they will get out in front of it. And Colombia are opting not even to fight anymore. Just dip away.
Yeah, give it up. It's always nice, though, if you're able to take that long control as a T side. You have a lot of options available, really. So they're going to look to work around that. Whether they follow up on it is another question. Usually, it's a bit nice to sort of bait some players away. They will just keep it simple here. Oh, there's the nade! And that is a full towel drop moment for MDS. Caught like a deer in headlights. Not looking good. Slayer's going to find another round the smoke here. They're super prepared for this A hit to come in. OHP shuts out. Big fight to win, and he does indeed. Oh, the catch from Kojimo as well. Holding in from long, was hoping for a move like that. Meanwhile, up at short here, there is a spot for Louis. Can he make it work?
Ooh.
M4 denies the bomb plant away, and Louis will go down, but surely he spotted them both out. Kojimo could definitely do this. Been having a great game, of course. 25 frags to his name. Hell of a number. Hell of a number. Smoke goes down. Plant coming in. Ooh, and they've given him the space to go for it, so he's able to reset things and move away. One drops down towards CT while all this is happening. I think Kojimo is happy to get aggressive and take the fight. Oh, it was unexpected, to be fair, but he missed his opportunity. That costs them, and Colombia retake the lead.
Ooh, as well, making a little bit of BM here from Snake. All right, fella. He's got 10 more kills than you. Let's talk about... Let's wait, you know, before we get too feisty. So, don't want to get feisty and then lose, right? That's pretty brutal. But still, for Colombia, we said we needed to get a gun round on the board sooner rather than later. Thankfully, it is immediately after the back of me mentioning it. And it will now mean, you know, a chance for Colombia moving forward. But of course, because we've seen such success in quite a consistent basis for USA coming in towards the T side, they buy back in, no issues. And even then, they buy back in with money left in reserves as well. So they're not feeling the financial pressure just yet, where it's still inherently an issue over towards Colombia. Only 2 surviving, the rest of the team having to go right back into a full buy and extend all of their econ into it. You know, even with USA, the way these rounds are playing out, if they get bomb plants down and are getting 3 kills a round, it's still going to be Colombia's economy that dies before theirs. Point. First to fall. Louis, nice find.
Yeah, for sure. Big find as well in the all-important round here, it feels like, for USA. Got to be able to do something with that now. Ollie goes in sort of on the wrong corner of the mid doors, so his presence from Coke could still work. He hears them all moving up. He's going to start to make a move, but Louis, he's savvy, mate. He is savvy, having a heck of a round here with that bomb as well, you know, really well found from him. Getting the trickle smokes in, although I think it's just the CT one, to be fair. No, there you go. There's the rail smoke, indeed. So they'll work their way around. Beautiful utility usage here from USA, keeping it simple, proving they can. That'll force the save out from the rest of Colombia.
Yeah, that's it. I just cannot give this one a go. I mean, we already mentioned it right there. Long-term econ is just so fragile towards that CT side. So Slayer's out of there. But, I mean, even then, I don't really think we're buying around this. I know Snake's got a bit of money, and I know Slayer could technically drop something over, and something even then is a real loose term. But, oh, actually, he might be in trouble. Oh, my God, he will get the kill on towards shutout. I think it's worthwhile probably hunting, though, in all fairness. He might continue having to look. I don't think he's saving here. I think we're hunting. The hunt might have some bit of success behind it. He's going to get one more, but even then, he's just desperately trying. Oh, okay, nice tap. Maybe one more as well. How low he is, surely he's not surviving. And yeah, he will go down. But honestly, kills gained at the end there, pretty good ones. I mean, walking away with 3 when it looked like it was going to be a USA flawless round isn't bad. Should at least keep that T-side economy a little lesser to some extent. But it's still USA. Time this game right back up. And as well, with nothing really being saved, nothing gained for Colombia, probably USA relatively comfortably taking a 10th here, being the first side to crack in towards double digits, which is, that in itself is pretty huge.
Yeah, you would expect so. Never as simple as that. Flash comes over. Info here for MDS. He will only get 1, though. Uh-oh. It's a little worrying. There is 1 player with armor. He's going to get that AK. Not sure they'll be able to do too much about this, and it feels like already moving away. They also were, like, very unsure, you know what I mean? They were like, oh, maybe it's B, but it's A every day of the week here. So Snake's going to leave. He's like, I want this AK into the next guy's sorry, and they're now just looking for some exits, really.
Yeah. It's a round which didn't really expect a hell of a lot from, right? I think it's the simple thing. And even in this instance, do we hunt the AK? Probably not. I know we've dropped it over, but is it worthwhile? No. The pistol's going to have a look in to no avail. The AK is long gone, but we thought that last round as well, and Snake did get a couple of kills, in all fairness. This time, I think he's going to give him the respect, and he should keep it alive. USA, they're going to find 10. That's big. Very big indeed for USA, who are now getting closer and closer to the 2-0. Bit by bit, inching their way forward. I think on the other side too, for Colombia, not many chances left in. There's probably, there's like 2 gun rounds, if we're being honest. You know, gun round here. If you lose this, USA found 11. Probably get the 12 with your money broken. Then they're buying for overtime. I mean, it's as simple as that. You don't have any chances. Basically 2 chances, and even that might be a little fortunate. Just Flash himself. And yes, going to get both before he forced the flames. Honestly, good work to even get 2 out of that, because I didn't even think he'd get the first. He self-flashed himself.
Yeah, a little bit dodgy. Could have really cost them in a big way, but it gives them a hefty advantage here, and of course, starts to make them think about being nice find from Spamzy, but dealt with quickly. In towards this B-bomb site. I think that's got to be it, to be honest. So far away, can't really make anything happen before the bomb goes down. Slayer trying to make me eat my words here. Oh, he might make the smoke work. Flash is good. Gabe, though, with the safe plant, knew what was up, right? Not taking any risks here. And definitely a save out from Snake. 11 for USA. Working a lot harder here than their T side of Anubis for sure. But it does look pretty good, right? They are keeping this one in their favor, keeping it pretty consistent.
Yeah, exactly. Snake, once again, in his save tactics. This one might be a little bit more of an exit play, in all fairness, which he might get a bit of success with. Oh, Louis spots him and then immediately hightails it towards lower tons, but at the same time, maybe hunting? Potentially. Snake, no. Louis does not to go forward. He actually does spot him out. Oh, and he's going to get him at the end as well. I don't even know why Snake's in the open there. No need to be, that's for sure. In the complete opening, kind of gifts that one over when we really didn't need to drop the AK. But USA, going to final 11th. Probably going to get a 12th here. But rather than playing for overtime, Colombia deciding to play for the win. And that, for me, is a big risk. They're coming in towards a bye here, which is an uncomfortable one, to say the least. And Kojo is not missing those. He's been on fire today.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Definitely here on Dust 2. I think he's given them a lot of key rounds towards the tail end of that first half in particular. You remember the massive 4K in and around that CT smoke. I think it was a big factor to their kind of turnaround in performance here. Quickly up short, not afraid to make the noise. Not messing around, but I think, again, maybe trying to draw in some presence. Got to be careful. Slayer, he is going for it on the safe angle as well. Will be spotted and will be finished. Maybe what they were banking on a little bit. Gives them another kill to work with. Quick moves here. Smokes go down so they can cross Molly in onto default. Snake going a little overlooked. Oh, it's close. There's some big damage there, but he can't quite finish them off. Still, though, the angles are in. Point and Coat both chiming through. They were not ready at all, and a bit rushed maybe from USA here.
Yeah, potentially. This is tough. Shut out. 1v2. He does actually get gifted a prime opportunity for the first. Fluffs it a tad. Molotov will come down. He's going to jump up on the boxes, which can give him a fight, but they play off each other well. Good contact play from Colombia. The force keeps them alive. No two ways about it. That is such a bold call, right? You're going in towards a force with really not a lot to bring to the table, and they've made it work for them. Huge, huge one done. And in that instance, I mean, now we're talking about USA, who potentially are feeling a bit more pressure than need to. I think they probably maybe assumed that it was going to be a lesser buy to buy in for overtime. And as much as it shocked us, I think it shocked USA about that lesser investment, or the more investment rather than the lesser. Colombia kept afloat. Only one round behind. Still, are playing catch-up, but at the very least, they're close.
The setup looks good. Flash comes in. Coat turning away. Ready to go here. Might need a bit more out of him than just one. Indeed, especially with Gabe being annoying towards middle here. It's a nice find from Spamsy, but they need a hell of a miracle to keep this one alive. USA going in for the tried and true B rush. As old as time itself in this game. Yeah, Spamsy, I think, know well. I've benefited from saving there, but and I think trying to go for it. Looking good here. 12 landed for USA. Money is not really available for Colombia. They have to stay alive on the weak bye.
If in doubt, B-rush it out is what I've heard. And, well, for USA, it worked well for them. It's a tough buy for Colombia, though, isn't it? You know, potentially the final round in this map, in this series. We're coming through with a Scout FAMAS, double MP9 and M4. It's not exactly luxury in this one. Oh, one spotted dropping towards Pier, and he has actually made it, in all fairness. Spamsy might be in a strong position. They're going to come over. It's just decent damage. The Molotov will force him further away, but they walk straight in towards Kojo's orb. I mean, that is a tough one. And Spamsy can't do anything from Pit either.
No, a little bit tough. A little bit tough, to say the least. It is looking all but over here. Point. Slayer to try and keep it going. And my guy Point is unfortunately distracted over on B. We'll get the kill, but I think it's good work for Team USA. Slayer is waiting for the Hail Mary. Oh my goodness. Okay, wait a second. Wait a second. He's dropped the bomb. There's enough time to get it recovered here, but they do have to be careful with how they play this. And we have seen Team USA just get a little caught off by these faster rounds, these more panicked moments. How is it going to pan out? Slowed down a little bit from Colombia to allow that bomb plant to come in. There's no kit available for them here to work with. Creeping forwards. It's a nice little move. Could find the first. They do indeed. Point keeps it going. Oh my goodness gracious. Kojo Mo, of course. Who else? To clutch it up for Team USA. Finds the first. Spotted out the second. Trying to draw him away. And winning out that way. And I think he might just have done enough. No kit available, you can see. Slayer. Nothing he can do. Going to try and, I suppose, outlive us all here. USA, however, will take Dust 2. They will take the series 2-2-0. And a very, very hard-fought second map there. Colombia, credit to them. Some great rounds coming in, but just could not keep it up for all 24.
Yeah, made to really work for that one in the end. But when it comes down to it, I think it was the same issues that were quite inherent over towards Colombia that were there in and very present in towards Dust 2, which is, you know, they're good on the T side because it's the game being played to your tempo and you can play as a pack and you can overwhelm and outnumber and all of the rest. On the other side, though, when you go towards CT, especially on a map like Dust 2, where the rotations are massive, you know, it's so easy to be pulled apart. There's a lot of opportunities for gaps to be found here, there, and everywhere. It's difficult. Fundamentally, it's a lot harder on the CT side as a team that's a bit more of a mix, or at least less experience at more of a top level that the way Perseverance as a roster and the USA as a kind of a nation have, and I think that was quite inherent there. You know, T-side was pretty good, 7-5 half, and we could just see with Colombia, we're just playing this numbers game, pure trading, relying on individuals that were putting up some pretty good numbers in all fairness, but different story on the CT side, and credit to USA, they never really backed down, where at one point it was actually looking pretty janky.
Yeah, well, you look at this early stage, right, that we're seeing on the highlights here. Some clutches going against them, some kind of difficult moments to contend with. And it was only like half buys that USA could get working for a while. And then suddenly it turned around for them. Big round from Kojimo. And we may well get to kind of see it here in the highlights once again, maybe from his perspective as well. I'm not sure whether we might have just missed it there, actually. Oh, this is the round after, unfortunately. So maybe not catching it fully, but, you know, he found this massive 4K that seemed to just turn things around for Team USA and indeed maybe bring their spirits back up, you know, where they were potentially feeling like, okay, this might not be our map. These guys are playing so disrespectfully, so quickly, so confidently is obviously the clean way that we put it. And maybe some of the players, getting a bit dejected, like, okay, not going to be our map, we're going to have to give it a go in the next one, I suppose. But I think Kojimo doing a fantastic job of just pulling them through that one.
Yes, yeah, exactly that. You know, in the end, a timing thing was just the issue there. We'll take a look at the scoreboard to see where things ended up, and one man in particular, Kojimo, what a map coming out from him. 31 kills and 14 deaths. He was loving life in the server easily. I would probably say, I think off the span of both maps too, the MVP of that series, Kojo really stepped up in a big way. Was prolific on the AWP, but has moments on the rifles and the pistols as well. I mean, having a player like that who is so versatile was super important towards the USA. So credit to them. But, you know, in his commiserations towards Colombia, because they had a couple of moments too. Snake, Coat again was super difficult to deal with, and he even points at his moment too. So, you know, commiserations to Colombia. Definitely far from being the last time we'll hear about them. I'm sure they're going to be able to put a bit of pressure on a lot of other teams in this qualifier. You know, we said Canada might be considered maybe the second favorites, but who knows, honestly, because that Colombia side looked pretty good.
It's true. They did indeed. I think we are kind of hoping for them to bring some competition as it goes on. This North American qualifier in particular will be running a little bit longer here as well. It is worth noting, right? We'll be done with South America by tomorrow evening, but rolling forwards, we've got the North American side of things on Saturday and Sunday as well. So there's a lot of Counter-Strike going down. You have to really bring your A game all weekend long here. Very much looking forward to getting that, of course. We are going to have a break here, a little bit extended, a little bit of time in between for everybody. I'm going to, you know, maybe get a little bit of cold water on my face because it's getting a bit late out here in the UK. I don't know about you, Dog, but it is indeed getting kind of late.
Yeah, 1:30 a.m.
Yeah, we're really gaming. We're really gaming out here. We got another series coming up, of course, so it's going to be Guatemala up against Canada. Another banger, hopefully. Guatemala, of course, you know, all eyes on this region. Can we get a few more players to join Malbs? We'll have to see. We'll have to see. Team Canada, meanwhile, come through as our other team that look a little more team-based, a little more experienced. So can they prove to us why they should be rolling through, why they should be competing with Team America here? Nonetheless, we're going to take a break. We'll see you in a bit.